Yeah.
Can we have the microphone?
This would work. Just picks up sound, I guess.
Hello, are we ready to start? Alright. How's your day going so far? Great. Yeah? Has all the lunch digested and all the sleepiness has gone away, now your full attention is? Absolutely. Good, good. I hate that right after lunch spot. So my name is Tony Cooper. I am the CEO of a company called Market Force. Market Force has been working with American Pacific Mortgage for the past 2.5 years. And we work together as strategic partners, integrating our methodology more and more into APM's practices at strategic planning level, lots of operational level. We gave a keynote address at the summit in April. Richard, if you were at the summit in April. Okay, so there's some people that, so I'm going to do this session is really designed to be an application conversation for what we talked about in the summit in April. And so, aligned with the theme of shift, you guys getting lots of good ways to shift today. Right? Everything's themed to shift and make it all about you. This one's really personal. This is really, 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 really about you. Really about you in the ways that maybe you're not so excited about the ways that you are. So making shifts is everything to do with getting what you want to make the shift. One thing that we start with, in order to get what you want, you have to be clear about what you want. That's step number one. Step number two is making declarations out to the world about what you want. We call that having an intention. Intentions are making declarations about what you want to have happen. The next thing about this is understanding that you are all wired in a particular way that works against you getting what you want. Did you know that? Do you know that there are things about you that are constantly getting in the way of things that you want? So we're gonna show you what those are like and break it out in terms of Market Force styles and start to show some of this really obvious patterns that you start to see once they're shown to you. But the shift is about not only being able to see them, being able to be conscious and make choices in the moment to make the shifts to get more of what you want. Does that sound useful? Yes. Great. So the agenda today, 30 minutes. Do I have a timer somewhere? Is there supposed to be a timer? Yeah. Okay. Great. I just love to talk, so I mean, if you leave it up to me, I'll talk right through happy hour. That'll suck. Okay, so we're going to do a brief review for those that were at the summit and saw the keynote in April. I'm going to do a brief review for those. It'll be new information, but we'll try to package it in a really short little way to give you kind of the highlights of it. One of the main points we're going to talk about is what's the difference between following the golden rule and following the platinum rule in business. I have platinum rule underlined up there because that's the methodology to help you get what you want. That's the shift. We're going to actually shift out of the golden rule into the platinum rule. In particular, we're going to focus on the role that pressure plays in preventing you from being able to follow the golden rule. If you can't follow the golden rule, you're going to have a hard time getting what you want. So we're going to see how pressure impacts you, what it does to your behavior, and then we're going to give each of you your own secret weapon to use to shift yourself to overcome that pressure and shift your behavior to start getting what you want. So let's start with a review of the summit keynote from April. And one of the primary things that we're going to talk about, that we talk about all the time, that Market Force is really built on, is to remind you that business is a game. Business is just a game. It's not a life essential activity. At some point in human history, business didn't exist. We invented it. We invented it like everything else we invent, which is a game. It's intended to be fun. And yet we forgot that we invented it. We forgot that it's a game. We brought all of our survival tendencies into it, and that's part of the challenge. That's what pressure brings out. So we're going to talk through. But essentially in the game of business, the primary point we want to make is the way you make the most money is by developing your ability to deal with other people. So this is John Rockefeller, wealthiest American ever in history. Says it's the most valuable commodity in all of business. He'd pay more for this ability than anything because it'll make you more money. Your ability to deal with people. And so when we talk about pressure, we talk about challenge, we talk about stress, 90% of the pressure and stress you feel day to day at work has everything to do with other people. And your ability to deal with them. And that's really what he's talking about. So if you get really, really good at managing that, that's what helps you to win more in the game of business. So everybody familiar with the golden rule? He who has the gold makes the rule. And so the golden rule says treat other people how you would like to be treated. Is that a good rule to follow? Yes, it's a good rule to follow. It's good. It's not a great rule. But if you're doing that, at least if you're doing that, you have some sort of consideration of the other person. But what we're going to show you, those of you that saw this presentation, know the platinum rule, is realizing it only goes so far. So I want to give you a quick overlay onto market force styles. This may or may not be familiar to some of you, so raise your hand if you've completed the market force indicator and you know what your style is. Okay, great. So we have an opportunity to get that done today. If you haven't done that, outside of the main hall, there's a desk. Right, Bobby? Bobby's going to help you with that. We have laptops set up. We've opened up the indicator. Everybody can take it for free. We want to have you have an opportunity to start to learn what your market force style is. Here's the relevance as it pertains to this conversation. So if someone said no, who said no? Why gold rule's not a good rule? Who said that? Yeah. Okay. Why is it not a good rule? Yeah. But why is it not a good rule? When I said it's a good rule and you said no, why is it not a good rule?
It's about you, not about them.
Okay, great. It's about you, it's not about them. So I'll show you how this works. There are 4 different styles. You've all taken indicators. Forget about the market force styles indicator. You've all taken indicators, right? DISC or something like that in your life. So everyone's taken one, and they all pretty much say the same thing, which is they all agree that you can essentially categorize humans into about 4 different categories. Somehow we're comfortable with that distinction, so everyone goes with it. And it turns out roughly populations divided evenly amongst the 4 different styles. You know, we've issued thousands and thousands of these, and it roughly turns out there's about 25% of each style out there. People have taken it. And so I'm going to use the golden rule, apply it, and you can see what the failure mode is. Okay, so I'm a control, it says right here, I'm proud of that. I'm a control, whatever your style is, I hope you're proud of that because you don't have a choice, it's up to you, it's just yours. You can dislike it if you want, that's not helping you get what you want. You gotta start with who you are. So I'm a control, and so what the golden rule says is, and I interact with all these other people, these 3 other different styles, and me, and I treat other people like I want to be treated, and I'm going to treat them all like they're controls, right? Okay, so particularly under pressure, that's the thing I want to keep anchoring here, is that your style is going to come out more under pressure than any other situation. When the pressure's off, typically when the pressure is on, what happens is your biology goes into a little bit of an uproar and takes over the controls of your system and starts running its runs the same neural pathways, runs the same patterns. We'll go into that a little bit. But under pressure, I'm more likely to treat everybody the way I want to be treated because that's how I want to be treated in this situation. If something needed to happen right now, as a control, my tendency is to just tell somebody to do it. As a control, that's actually how I want to be talked to under pressure. I talk to other people the way I want to be talked to. But I treat all the other styles like that, and they don't want to be treated that way. Under pressure, if I'm working with an influence, I don't take the time to ask them how their day is going, see if they're interested in this conversation, tell some stories to get them interested and excited about it, and roll them into it so they can leave energized and excited to take that on. I don't do that. I go, just tell them what to do. My power people want to know, well, what is it that I actually need to do? What's the plan? How does it roll out? I wouldn't do that. And the authority people aren't going to do a thing until they find out I have some proof or evidence to support my idea as to why they should do that. Right? But I follow the golden rule, treat everybody how I want to be treated. Turns out they're not actually my style. I treat them that way. They take off, right? They get upset. I get upset. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? Can't count on anybody, right? And this is why we say the golden rule fails 75% of the time you use it. It only works with people who share your style. So why it's not a good rule in terms of business is what's acceptable in business? You could fail 3 out of every 4 times. What do you do that would be an acceptable failure rate? Not a thing. If you lost 3 out of every 4 loans, how'd your business look? Terrible, right? So clearly you're doing something right. You're not always following the golden rule. You're doing something else. And the option, we say, is follow the platinum rule. The platinum rule says the same kind of idea, but treat other people how they want to be treated. You get the math here? If it fails 75% of the time, I'm leaving 3 out of every 4 opportunities on the table. If I follow the platinum rule, I can increase my opportunities by 300%. Anybody would like to see that on your bottom line? Right? That's what's possible. That's helping you get what you want. Follow the platinum rule. So Zig Ziglar, been a fan of Zig Ziglar? Read this, please. It says everything you need to know. The whole idea is getting what you want. What Zig Ziglar tells us is the only way to get what you want is to help other people get what they want. One of the primary things they want is to be treated in a way they want to be treated. They want to be talked to the way they want to be talked to. And we're going to walk through a couple of examples of the difference between different styles and the impact that has when you follow the golden rule, not the platinum rule. Okay, so each style likes to learn something differently, right? If you present me with a concept, I don't quite get it. If you need me to come up with a solution, I don't have it. What's going to help me come up with an answer? Depending on what your style is, it's going to be different. A control person is going to go, okay, hold on. Just give me some time, I need to think about this. And goes completely internal and tries to figure out everything before they speak anything. Right? It would be unforgivable for a control to start talking about stuff that they don't know what the answer is to. They wouldn't do it. It's just, that's like a mortal fear. Right? And then you look at influence people who go,